गुणातीतोऽक्षरं ब्रह्म भगवान् पुरुषोत्तमः जनो जानन्निदं सत्यम् उच्यते भवबन्धनात्. With prostrations at the divine feet of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, my Guru Hari, Param Pujya Pramukhswami Maharaj, my Pragat Guru Hari, Param Pujya Mahantswami Maharaj, my heartiest Namaskar, good evening, and Jai Swaminarayan. Especially to Shri Bharat Bhaskar, the director of the Indian Institute of Management here in Ahmedabad, Ashanji, the donor of this place, Shraninji, my co-speaker, and last but not the least, the two wonderful people here at IIM that I know, Vishalji and Piyushji, and all who are present here today. As at the start of the function, Piyushji mentioned that it's always been very great to be in the midst of a big youth energy, and that is what we see today. I think seeing this crowd at IIM, you must be convinced that we will be a $5 trillion economy by 2025. So when talking about the art of spiritual leadership, and talking about leadership, I don't want to talk about work procedures. No. I don't want to talk about management systems. No. I don't want to talk about tutorship. I don't want to talk about human relations. I don't want to talk about time management. I don't want to talk about connectivity. I don't want to talk about project planning. I don't want to talk about paperwork. I don't want to talk about systems of execution. And there is a long list of things that I don't want to talk about, which is already written in the books. And so I see a stunned silence that what will I be talking about? If I don't want to talk anything about the modern management systems, anything that is written in the books, above the books, beyond your courses, much above the academics, is the art of spiritual leadership. A person who is high on spiritual intelligence, how can he become a great leader? Just for one reason. He thinks that I'm created by God and everything around me is created by God. And man being the best creation of God upon this earth, whatever I do should be the best creation. What we are is God's gift to us. What we do and what we become by what we are is our return gift to God. Spiritual leaders, they think in this way. So naturally the systems, naturally the procedures of better and best administration and management get inculcated into their habits. Until the 90s, it was thought that people with high intelligence quotient, they can find jobs, do business and recruit people. After the 90s, there was a surprise change in the corporate world that people sometimes with better IQs were incorporated into their systems or were engaged or were given jobs by people who had high EQs, emotional quotients. And at the turn of the millennium, it was found that people with high spiritual quotient, they could rule over people with high IQ and high EQ. So spiritually intelligent persons, they have a top view of the whole concept. They have a top view and the inner understanding of the whole concept. So they are beyond IQ and beyond EQ. Now that subject is a bit different. What I want to say is, spiritually, those people who are high, they just think one thing, and that is, when I am the best creation of God, whatever I create upon this earth should be the best. What I need to do to make it the best, to what extent I should involve myself, and how can I engage more and better people to make the best. And when the ultimate aim is to do the best, naturally all the systems and management and administration, they fall into place. This in context of the Pramukhswami Maharaj Shatabdi Mahotsav that we celebrated just about 2 months back in Ahmedabad. A festival beyond the scale of imagination of any person. Ahmedabadis, Gujaratis and people in India haven't seen this scale, did not see this scale before. Just a few minutes back we were sitting at the reception and Professor Vishal Gupta told me when they are doing a case study on this particular festival, as Harvard has done on Kumbh Mela, IIM is doing on the Pramukhswami Maharaj Shatabdi Utsav. That we found out after all the research that they said that the Shatabdi Mahotsav of Pramukhswami Maharaj in Ahmedabad was the largest gathering of, third largest gathering of people in 1 month in the entire recorded history of humankind. Because 1.21 crore people visited in a span of 1 month, that is 4 lakh people a day. On 200 acres of festival cultural ground, we had paved 1 crore paver blocks, and that too on zero budget. We had 80,000 volunteers who had selflessly put in their efforts. Some for a few days, some for a couple of weeks, some more than that, but 40,000 volunteers full time for 35 days during the running of this festival. And they handle more than 45 departments. We had more than about 45, 55 plus apps designed to run the different departments of the festival. A couple of statistics that are really mind-boggling when it comes to administration and management. We had a daily turnover in the lodging and boarding facilities of 25,000 people. So we had 4,500 apartments, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, 4 BHK apartments, very generously gifted by the builders and developers of Ahmedabad to use for our lodging and boarding facilities. And our devotees from all over the place would come, they would reside in those apartments for 1.5 to 2 days, and then again the second batch comes in. So every evening we had a rotation of 25,000 people in the lodging and boarding facilities for 1 month. You could imagine this scale. 25,000 people who would check out every day and 25,000 people would check in every day. And that too in a temporary makeshift arrangement. We used to make 80 tons of khichdi every day. And the entire kitchen department was running on no electricity, no fire, absolutely thermal. For the first time in the history that such a huge congregation had all the items made in the kitchen department without the use of fire or electricity. Fire once to heat up the oil, and the oil runs in the pipelines at 250 degrees centigrade temperature, and that cooks all the items. So to take up the risk of thermal cooking in such a huge festival was for the first time in the history. Many such things, if I carry on with this, it could be a separate talk specially for this. But why I told you this? This whole festival was managed by a team of saints and a team of dedicated volunteers. They were under an umbrella of spiritual leadership of our Guru Hari Mahantswami Maharaj, who at the age of 90, having bypassed them 25 years back, engaging in more than 3 to 4 hours of administrative meeting every day, attending 70 to 100 letters every day, attending 30 to 40 incoming outgoing phone calls every day, and still as energetic or perhaps more than you and me. So under his umbrella we had this whole festival for 1 month. Who's who? People came from all over the country, all over the world. They were well taken care of. And people who came to the festival, they said, let it be permanent here in the city of Ahmedabad. Now with this background, how can a festival, a gathering of this scale can happen? And that too so smoothly. Is a mind-boggling thing, especially for the IIM professors. It's a routine for us. Professor Vishalji and Professor Piyushji were touring different departments. And in the volunteers department, they asked a wonderful question to the saints who were handling the volunteers department. That Swamiji, you have volunteers from all over the place, that means geographically different places. Some from Saurashtra, some from Gujarat, some from Rajasthan, some from Kolkata, some from England and in America. Second thing, you have volunteers with different academic backgrounds. You have volunteers of different mother tongues. You have volunteers who have come from different strata of the society. And if you make a team, and the team includes this variety, do you face problems of team coordination and teamwork? You ask this question to our volunteers department. But it was running so smooth that this question, when you posed, was the first time that we thought of that. Because we never encountered this. Why? Again, there was spiritual leadership. Now, what are the aspects of this spiritual leadership? The mother of values for spiritual leadership is integrity. With all the talents, all the academics, all the backgrounds, all the support systems, everything that you have, if you miss out on integrity, you are a zero. Am I right or wrong? With integrity and lesser on otherness, you can still make a gradual progress. When Pramukhswami Maharaj visited United States of America in the year 2000 at the age of 80, there was arranged a meeting between the then President of the United States, Bill Clinton, and Pramukhswami Maharaj. Now, Bill Clinton, the President of America, he doesn't understand a word in Gujarati, and Pramukhswami doesn't understand a word in English. Now, both the greats had the opportunity to meet each other. There was a saint who worked as an interpreter between the two. So English into Gujarati, Gujarati into English. So actually the 22-minute meeting was actually only 8 minutes because the two-way was going on. After 8 minutes of meeting with Pramukhswami Maharaj, Bill Clinton, the President of America, was so impressed that he said that I haven't seen such expressive eyes full of integrity in my life. First of all, the President of America doesn't get impressed with anybody. And why should he? He's, in other words, the king of the world. America funds the top 50 institutions of the world, including the World Bank and the IMF. He nominates and the person becomes the chairman of the World Bank. And that to Bill Clinton, 6 feet 3 inch height, very charismatic. If you want to put him in line, he's among the top 5 presidents of US ever. John F. Kennedy, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, that caliber. And if at all he gets impressed, he would never express himself. Because the big American A comes in between. But he got expressed. And Pramukhswami Maharaj, in his very traditional style, at parting out, caught hold of his hand and said, in traditional Gujarati, Sahib Amaru, Gandhinagar no Akshardham jo aujo. And Bill Clinton, when he was told that he is personally inviting you to visit our Akshardham at Gandhinagar, he said, when he is inviting, I will come. And he came. Integrity has that impact, and it is the mother of all values when it comes to spiritual leadership. It can generate values, it can generate force, it can generate ideas, it can generate attachment, it can generate workmanship, it can generate administration, it can generate management, new theories, everything. It has the power to generate. So when you have integrity 100% filled up in your hearts and minds, there starts the path of spiritual leadership. And then you grow, your organization grows. A professor at the Baps College in Massachusetts in America, Professor Raymond Williams, who has done a research thesis on BAPS many years back. I'm talking of things like more than 35 years back. He has written, after a deep study of BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha, that BAPS is the fastest growing organization in the world. That was 35 years back. And in 2004, when Pramukhswami Maharaj visited London, Shri Hinduja, Gopichand Hinduja, they met Pramukhswami Maharaj and said, Swamiji, we are businessmen. And a long association with Pramukhswami Maharaj since decades. He said that we are businessmen. And we could judge the growth of an organization if we take BAPS as a corporate. I could tell you with all confidence, both Shri Chand and Gopichand said, that I can tell you with all confidence, Swamiji, that BAPS is the fastest growing organization in the world, and I have not seen in my life, that is in my business life, in my corporate life, any organization growing at such a scale at this speed in the world. So from Professor Raymond Williams of Baps College in Massachusetts to Shri Chand Hinduja and Gopichand Hinduja, everybody confessing that BAPS is the fastest growing organization, and BAPS, the speed at which it is growing is unimaginable. Spiritual leadership has integrity to the core. And when integrity plays, all the other values and virtues, systems have to play. Now take this in writing, Piyushi. When integrity comes into play, everything has to come into play. Like when Sachin or Virat are playing, you have to glue to the TV sets. In the same way, when integrity plays, all the values and virtues, they start playing the game. And you create, you grow beyond the ken of human intelligence, beyond your imaginations. And that is what has happened. The first thing that comes out of integrity is excellence in work, which we all want. Just raise your hands if you say yes. We all want excellence in work, isn't it? It comes out of spiritual leadership. The core again is integrity. What Pramukhswami Maharaj has done upon this earth is beyond the ken of human intelligence. In a span of 45 years, from the age of 51 to 95, and that is very much mind-boggling. In a span of 45 years, Pramukhswami Maharaj created 1,300 institutions of social service. Hospitals, hostels, schools, colleges, community centers, sanskar kendras, mandirs and akshardhams. That is an institution every 15th day of his life. Imagine the purchase or getting of a land to deciding what to do upon it by the board of trustees of BAPS. Ashankji. Hospital, hostel, school, college, what to come up with on that land. We being a non-profit organization, we raise funds from the society. We have to find Ashanks from the society. Then the land is legally cleared in the local government bodies. Thereafter the architect designs the plans are passed in the local government bodies. Then the tenders dished out, a tender passed. Then the contractor finalized, groundbreaking ceremony performed. Contractor starts the construction work, 2-story, 5-story, 10-story. All the construction interiors done, opening ceremony designed, 5-10 dedicated volunteers needed to run the institute, finalized, another 25, 50, 100 people as employees decided upon, recruited. And the inauguration ceremony held in the institute put in the service of society. This entire story that I described, right from the purchase or getting of the land to the institute put in the service of society, the entire story Pramukhswami Maharaj completed every 15th day of his life for 45 years. And that too from the age of 51 to 95. He started his career at 51 from 1971 after he became the guru of this organization. This I said because I want to tell you, when it is spiritual leadership, full of integrity, to what extent you can grow. Again, I would use the word beyond the ken of human intelligence. You would not find this statement in any growth, in any corporate, any organization, that in 45 years, 1,300 outlets in your language, 1,300 institutions in our language, 1,300 outlets in your language, in 45 years, that is every 15th day. So as I was talking, the first value that gets generated from integrity is excellence in work. Pramukhswami Maharaj liked excellence in work. He created stone temples, we call it the Shikharbhat temples in America. The one that was created in Chicago, that holds a couple of world records, entirely made up of stone, finely carved. About 70 architects of the American Institute of Architecture, they decided to visit our Chicago temple, and they spent almost like 6 hours there. And spending 6 hours, they decided it right away that for this year, we must felicitate this particular monument as a standout of the state of Illinois. And they felicited it. Just imagine the logistics, the preparation and the manning behind this. When we built the temple in 1995 in the UK, the granite, the stone, the marble used to come from Europe because Indian marble and stone and granite would not work there in the extreme climates. So they come there from Europe to Kandla, the free trade zone. It is by road transported to different sites in Rajasthan where they do the carving on the stones, and then it is again shipped back to Kandla, and then in containers they go to UK. 28,000 carved pieces in a span of 28 months. 28 means the stone or marble starts from Italy or Greece. To the time it is carved and it is sent back to London and put in that place. 28,000 carved pieces in a span of 28 months with this logistics done in your language with a Sigma 6 award. There is not even only one mistake allowed in 1 million interactions. That is a Sigma 6 award. And when it was inaugurated, Reader's Digest wrote that it is the 8th wonder of the world. It is among the iconic buildings of London and UK. So my first point in spiritual leadership under the umbrella of integrity is you always want excellence in your work. And you create excellence. Why? Now understand carefully. People in the corporate world also want to create excellence, and they do create excellence. But the difference in the corporate leadership and the spiritual leadership when it comes to excellence in work is, in corporate leadership, the excellence is not maintained 24/7, 365, 80. 24/7, 365 years and 80 years of your life. From procrastination to less on teamwork, less on resources, everything comes into play, and excellence degrees, they keep on deteriorating. When it comes to spiritual leadership, a person with a spiritual intelligence feels, again, the first thing that I said, when I am the best creation of God, 24/7, 365, 80, what is created by me should be best as my return gift to God. That basic thought of spirituality, gives him excellence in work 24/7, 365, 80. Excellence in work. When we had the relief and the rehabilitation work done in 2001 in Bhuj after the severe earthquake, initially we started all the relief work within like about 6 to 8 hours. On 26th January morning, 8:45 am was the severe earthquake in 2001. And Pramukhswami Maharaj, see, a person with a spiritual bent of life, how quick he can be, how intelligent he can be, how solution finder he can be. He called our local saints in Pujya and said that start kitchen immediately. Because after 3 hours people will need lunch. And the entire city is into debris. Where will people have their meals? So our saints just started the kitchen, and on the very first day, that is just 3 hours into the earthquake, we had 17,000 people having their meals at our Bhuj BAPS market. See, to gather the resources in this span of time and resources to this scale and put them into place and extract results from them is a challenging task. But only a spiritual leadership can do it. And that continued for another 10 months. Totaling 3 meals, we had a range of 65 to 85,000 people having their meals at our place. And then the rehabilitation started. You would be surprised to know that on the 4th day, that is 30th January 2001, Pramukhswami Maharaj from Mumbai, he put an 800-ton vessel full of commodities that we need in day-to-day life at the port of Mundra. And I was a part of that team in 2001. We, in a span of just like about 10 days, distributed it in 509 villages of Kutch, Jamnagar and Rajkot. Now see where spiritual leadership works. Of course, the scale, the speed, the intelligence, the final result. At that time, one Mr. T. Chino, who was the chairman of the Asian Development Bank, he visited our place. During the rehabilitation work, we had adopted about 10 villages, we had constructed about 1,500 homes, another 42 villages were helped with either one like a water tank, like a PHC, like a bank building. And Mr. T. Chino, they wanted to participate, the Asian Development Bank, the ADB, they wanted to participate with the government of India in Formula 1. 50-50% partnership. So they were asked by the government of Gujarat, the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Honorable Shri Narendra Ji Modi. He said, you go to BAPS and see their work done. Government is a participant in that project. And Mr. T. Chino was there. At that time, on behalf of BAPS, I had the service of guiding him through all our rehabilitation sites. I took him to a place, the name of the village was Ukhadmora, where we had constructed about 80 to 90 homes. Mr. T. Chino entered the room and I was showing him around. He was not interested in the thing. He straight away went inside the kitchen and opened the tap. And water came out, so 25% satisfaction. Then he caught hold of the window and banged it 2-3 times. It did not lose out from the hinges. So again he expressed a sense of some satisfaction and a small smile towards me. I responded. Then he went back to the entry gate, again banged it 2-3 times. It did not get loosened from the hinges. He was again satisfied. While coming out, he thrusted his shoes on the edge of the stairs, thinking that maybe the edge will break out, but it did not. He expressed 100% satisfaction, turned around and said, this work, that is the quality of this work, is equivalent to what we do in rehabilitation in Japan after the tsunami. This is a Japanese quality work. And then he told us that you can send a message to the Honorable Chief Minister Modi ji that ADB will join the project. So excellence in work, details in the work. See, when a person is spiritually high, he understands your emotions. In the corporate world, you understand only the thought process, designs and plans. Corporate world doesn't have the time to understand your emotions. And if you're not high on EQ, not high on SQ, it's difficult to retain people. The biggest challenge that the corporate world faces is to retain the people, isn't it? And here in the organization in BAPS, we have people who have been selflessly serving for 6 decades, 5 decades, 4 decades, 3 decades, 2 decades. Why? The only value that can hold retainship in an organization is integrity under a spiritual umbrella. So when we were preparing the rehabilitation kits, Pramukhswami Maharaj, at that time his age was 81. And he would take the day's reports at a time of like 10:30 or 11 at night before he goes to sleep. And he was told that these are the items that we have included in the relief kit. He said, let us put a nail cutter also. Because since last 5, 7, 10 days, people have not cut their nails. Their nails might have grown. They would be finding it difficult to put their morsel inside their mouth. He said, Swamiji, these are all rural people and they are less used to such type of nail cutters. I'm talking of things like more than 20 years back. And many of them use their teeth as their natural nail cutters. So Swamiji said no. Swamiji said no, put a nail cutter. Then he said put a comb. If they just comb their hairs, they would be feeling fresh because they had not taken their bath since 5, 7, 10 days because of this severe earthquake. Then Swamiji said that put a hair oil bottle as well so that they can put oil in their hair and feel fresh. The saints felt that if the phone call would continue more, this relief could double. But when the chief of the Israel disaster management team, which had come with 167 members in Bhuj, he was the chief of the Israel management disaster team, and they had done operations since last 15 years at more than 8 to 10 places. They had come with a mobile ICU. And that was for the first time I saw a mobile ICU put up at Shastri Maidan in Bhuj. We all went to specially see it. What is a mobile ICU? That was in 2001. He wanted to visit different places, different NGOs who would carry out different works. He came to our camp, he saw hot meals being served and he said, how come? You people are serving hot, fresh meals during relief works? To how many people? He said, plus of 3 meals is like 75,000 people a day. What? He was very surprised. He saw the kitchen, he saw the serving and everything, the queuing up of people. Then he said, any other thing that you do? He said, yes, we have prepared this relief kit. Can I see it? He said, yes. So I opened up the entire relief kit to Mr. Shalom, in which he found a nail cutter, a comb and a hair oil bottle. And his eyes got stuck. I still remember those eyes. His eyes got stuck on that. He said, why these things in the relief kit? They should not be. Relief kit is a couple of pairs of clothes for men and women, or a 7-day ration for a family of 4. That is all. We said that our Guru Pramukhswami Maharaj insisted upon this, and so we have put that. And with this idea, he has asked us to put this in the relief kit. He was very surprised. And then the first question that he posed to his team members is that we have been brainstorming ourselves in for better relief operations since many years. We could not get such ideas so compassionate, so loving, so caring. And these people, they got it. We could not these people, only one person got it. Pramukhswami Maharaj got it. So we have put him. He said, can I see his picture? So I showed him Pramukhswami Maharaj's picture. The first question that he asked, seeing Pramukhswami's picture, and the first question that any corporate or administrative or management had would in his mind is, and he posed that question to me, and the word to word and letter to letter is, from which college or university Pramukhswami has done his MBA? Because people teaching MBA and people learning MBA, they feel that all the thoughts, they come from us. But the 100 thoughts that have changed the course of history upon this earth, 77 of them have come from class 3 and class 4 people who have never worn a tie or a blazer in their life. Like the T20 idea in cricket has come from an ordinary clerk of ICC. Ordinary clerk. Class 3 person. And that has brought the amount of money that is in football into cricket. So, he said he's just 5th standard pass. What are you talking? And then he concluded. He said, now listen carefully what is spiritual leadership. From the mouth of Mr. Shalom, the head of the disaster management team of the government and the army of Israel. He said that Pramukhswami Maharaj got this idea, which is full of care, compassion. And we could not even think of it after long brainstorming sessions, is because we work from the head, he works from the heart. This is spiritual leadership. The art of spiritual leadership is working from the heart. The art of spiritual leadership is working from the heart. And so, they have published a book, What They Don't Teach You at Harvard. The title of the book is What They Don't Teach You at Harvard, because they don't teach spiritual leadership. In which they say basically a person needs development of 3H: the hand, head and the heart. When only the hand works, it is labor. When the hand and the head work together, it becomes skill. When the hand, head and the heart all three work together, it becomes art. That art is spiritual leadership. So Mr. Shalom said that Pramukhswami works from the heart. Mr. T. Chino, the Asia Development Bank chairman, he said he works from the heart. So spiritually intelligent person puts heart first and mind second. And that is why he is able to solve problems, he is able to retain people, he can take people along. Bill Clinton told in the presence of Pramukhswami Maharaj, he said, his eye says that he has taken people along with him. He has not pushed aside anybody and come in the front. He has seen the growth and success of everybody. And this is a fact that the art of success is when everybody in your team grows, everybody in the team is capable of replacing you anytime. That is your real growth and success. Each and every member of your team, if he can replace you as the head of the team any hour of the day, if you have done work in that way, taking people along with you, that makes you a leader. That is growth and that is success. That only comes through spiritual leadership. Otherwise, the biggest opposite of spiritual leadership is office politics.
Yes, 100%.
Leg pulling. So it is far, far, far down in the gutter line, and this is in the heavens. Excellence in work, work with care, compassion and love, that we saw in the relief kit, in the rehabilitation work. Along with that, another good aspect of the art of spiritual leadership is value-based workmanship. To complete a task is one thing. To complete a task with excellence is another thing. But to complete the task with values is the third and the most and the topmost thing. A task completed brings cheers. A task completed with excellence creates records. And a task completed with values creates inspirations for generations. Value-based workmanship. We had the director of IIM Indore, Mr. Ravindran, to our place in Bochasan, one of the places of BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha, from where the organization originated. Thereafter, he traveled to many of our institutions, even Akshardhams in Gandhinagar and Delhi. And he would always say, again quoting him well, he would say that in this world we find a big gap. On one side there is extreme poverty, and on the other side you have high levels of richness. Then he said, again we find a big gap, that we have a huge pool of unskilled labor, cheap labor. On the other side we have skilled people. And he said it is very difficult to bridge this gap between extreme poverty and huge richness, between unskilled labor and skilled labor. Then he said that I have traveled to many institutions of BAPS. I have heard the discourses of Pramukhswami Maharaj. I have come close with the way in which the saints of BAPS think and act. I have been to their administrative offices in Ahmedabad and other places. I have been to Sarampur, the Saint Training Center, where the saints are being trained. for 4, 5, 6 years. I can tell with all my backgrounds as a director of IIM Indore and all my management acumen, practicals and theories both, that the way in which BAPS carries out their projects, the administrative side, the management side, and more importantly, the human side, I could tell with confidence that BAPS is the organization whose principles give us the confidence that this is the way which can bridge this gap successfully. Value-based workmanship. When you go for value-based workmanship, nobody is yours and nobody is others. You know the biggest problem in the modern day management systems and the administrative setups and structures is contradict, control, and coterie. Coterie is that my group. Does he belong to my group? No. Then even if he is capable for the job, I don't want him. This is happening. Am I right or wrong? Yes. Students who are here, you are still in an incubation stage. वो छोटा बच्चा पैदा होता है, वो प्री मैच्योर होता है, तो वो इंक्यूबेटर में रखते हैं. बाहर जाओगे पता चलेगा what is cutthroat competition, corporate world में what is leg pulling, what is office politics. He is not in my group, so I will not help him, even if he is talented, qualified, experienced. In the same way, after a lot of academics, when your ego inflates, you develop a habit and a nature and an attitude of contradicting. Even only if I contradict an opinion, even only if I put a logic against the logic, I will prove my intelligence and my workmanship. This is the wrong attitude that has come up in today's millennials. To agree is workmanship. Today's generations, most of them feel to contradict and come up with a new idea. To try to control the happenings at the office place, to try to maximize influence at the office place is workmanship, is quality, is trying to come up, is seizing projects, is gaining leadership. It's absolutely wrong. Why? Spiritual leaderships, they go for positive C's. The negative C's are contradict, control, and coterie. The positive C's are care, coordinate, and contribute. You have to change the mode. That changing the mode is art of spiritual leadership. The art of corporate leadership is contradict, control, and coterie. The art of spiritual leadership is care, coordinate, and contribute. बहुत फर्क है. A vast difference. People in the negative C's, they are always losers. If not today, after 10 years. If not after 10 years, after 25 years. They are sure losers. And people on the positive C's, they are sure and definite gainers and winners. History has records. So having positive these 3 C's is the art of spiritual leadership. Before you take a decision, you have to go for the care, coordinate, contribute, compassion mode. Before you take a decision, John D. Rockefeller was told that a person sitting in an important position in his company, Standard Oil, John D. Rockefeller was the first official dollar billionaire upon this earth. That because of his some wrong decision, the company has incurred a loss of $2 million. That was in the 70s, around that time. So anybody would blow up. Next day, Rockefeller called that employee in his chamber. And that employee was shivering. He knew that he would be fired. And before he would be fired, he would be shot to death. He was shivering. Rockefeller offered him a chair, which he never expected. Rockefeller pulled out a drawer and a glass of water for him and offered him water, which was never in the wildest of his dreams. Rockefeller pulled out another drawer. If anybody of us were sitting there, we would feel that he must be now pulling out a revolver from the third row. Rockwell pulled out a piece of paper. A piece of paper in which 5-7 items were written. And he started it reading aloud. He said, you have been with this company for last 20-25 years. This is what you have done for the company. I value your integrity. I value your workmanship, your honesty. So far the company has gained so much in terms of projects and in terms of money from your decisions and from your work. So your last decision, which brought a loss of $2 million, it doesn't stand in front of my eyes looking at this piece of paper. And then he goes further ahead, that I know that you are repenting your decision, you are regretting, and you are asking yourself that if I get a chance, I want to repay it. I know it is in your heart since seeing your integrity since 20 years. So today I have called you in my chamber to give you 2 promotions. To give you, I am superseding you, 2 promotions. So you will be better authorized to take decisions. You will have more power to take decisions. And here is your new appointment letter. Start the job. A very unique example in the history of corporate world. But it had the touch of spiritual leadership. Why? Care, compassion, coordinate and contribute. It happened. And that employee, in a span of 5 to 7 years, paid all that back with interest, bringing new projects, new work for the company. So the art of spirituality, I'm into last 5-7 minutes of my talk. Fine. So that art of spiritual leadership. See, normally when you see saffron-clad people, the first thing that goes into your mind, बेचारा, इसको कुछ जमा नहीं होगा, ठीक नहीं चला होगा, संसार में चला नहीं होगा, इसलिए यहाँ के बैठ गया. The first thing that enters your mind is this. Pramukhswami Maharaj proved it. That people under saffron also can be very good managers, excellent planners, and excellent executioners. And the person in Uttar Pradesh also proved it. So this basic quality of integrity, a couple of incidents I want to share with you. When a person is spiritually intelligent, what we learn from him in terms of administration, in terms of management, in terms of systems. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, when he met Pramukhswami Maharaj, more than 15 years of association, more than 10 to 12 personal one-on-one conversations with him. He said our think tank of 500 people, we had come together and we have decided that in this 5 spheres, if we can work and excel, we can make India a superpower and a developed nation. And he presented that these are the 5 fields. First is education and health. Second is agriculture. Third is infrastructure. Fourth is communications. And fifth is critical technology. Swamiji, out of all your experience, he's asking Pramukhswami Maharaj, after all your experience and travels and meeting people and running a huge organization, because you know it's difficult to run an NGO of the scale of BAPS than a corporate, than an MNC. Ashanki, I will tell you why. To run an MNC established in 30, 40 or 50 countries is easier than to run an NGO of the scale of BAPS. Why? In your MNCs, you have a system of pay and smile. Pay and smile. How? Your pay is liked by your employee, so there is a smile on his face. His work you like, so there is a smile on your face. You are paying him money, he is paying you work. So it's called pay and smile relationship. In NGOs where we work, it is serve and smile relationship. You serve and have a smile on your face. We saints in BAPS, we don't have personal bank accounts, we don't money, we don't have money, we don't touch money, we don't keep money. And wearing the same clothes since 30 years. but do you see a slightest lesser of smile on my face than yours? So when Dr. Kalam, out of all his backgrounds, when he asked Pramukhswami Maharaj that, Swamiji, would you like to add any element to this? And Pramukhswami Maharaj said, yes, the sixth element is faith. Faith in God will make you better people, will get you better people, will make people better as a professional, as a human being, as a family person, as a neighbor, as a colleague, as a friend. So when you excel in the 5 fields that you and your think tank have decided upon, the element of faith added to it will create the right kind of people to take care of your institutions. Because the best of technology in the worst of hands can create disasters. Best of knowledge in the worst of minds can create disasters and create hindrances in somebody's growth. A short seller from US can create hindrances, the first half word, in the growth process. So the best of technology in the worst of hands can create disasters. So we need good hands, we need good minds, we need good hearts, and those will be the creation centers of great and good work upon this planet. That comes by faith. Dr. Kalam liked it. He included that in his system, and when he wrote his 30th and the last book, Transcendence, My Spiritual Experiences with Pramukhswami Maharaj, he writes this in this book. See, the element of faith is the principal strength of spiritual leadership. And that faith brings the mother of all values, integrity in your heart, and rest all values are just the children of those. So faith element works a lot. The last incident I would like to share. When Shishir Bajaj visited Swami and Akshardham at Delhi, the scion of the Bajaj family, he felt, of course, peace of mind, but along with that, he experienced vibes of brotherhood. He experienced feelings of togetherness, of harmony. And he was so much impressed with that visit, being geographically present there in person. And he comes to a conclusion, again I am repeating the name, Shishir Bajaj. He comes to a conclusion that a mandir, a religious place, the vibrations of which enhances the values in you, and you become a better person and thus a better professional. I very normally and casually say, don't carve out yourself to become a smart professional. First, be a good human being. A smart professional is a natural subset and a byproduct of it. Shishir Bajaj felt this. And he decided to set up a mandir in all the 16 establishments of Bajaj. 16 manufacturing plants of Bajaj. And he started doing it, and he hired one of our principal volunteers, Harshad Chawda. And by the year 2011, when Shishir Bajaj met Pramukhswami Maharaj again in Delhi, he said, this Harshad Chawda has helped me to set up 6 temples in my institute, in my manufacturing plants. We are going for another 10, because what I felt here at Swami and Akshardham, being more human, being a better human, and thus a better workman, I want each and every employee of my organization to feel that. So don't question the existence of mandir. If Shishir Bajaj is thinking on these lines from the corporate point of view, we are smaller in size, into bracket, in many ways than Shishir Bajaj. I have 100 of such examples. My time is up. So thank you very much for patiently listening to me and all my prayers for you.